Right, breaking news coming in this hour. Petitioners Counsel Harish Salve has attacked Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni in the Supreme Court. Salve says that captain of the Indian side is guilty of corrupt conduct and has alleged that he gave a false statement to the Mudgal Committee. Mahendra Singh Dhoni reportedly told the committee that N. Srinivasan's son-in-law Gurunath Meiyappan was merely a cricket enthusiast and had limited role in the Chennai Super Kings. He was only someone who visited the office because he liked meeting cricketers and enjoyed the sport. All right, in fact, we have with us in our studios this afternoon veteran cricketer Nikhil Chopra, also with us our sports anchor Shivani. Nikhil, how do you see this revelation? Now Mahendra Singh Dhoni being dragged into the case in court.
Well, I guess I don't know what the exact statement that Mahendra Singh Dhoni has given at the Mudgal Committee, but I'm sure, you know, Mr. Salve being such a senior lawyer, if that thing has come out, then there must be something to it. I guess they're probably looking to corroborate that Mahendra Singh Dhoni is also an employee, vice president of the India Cements. The India Cements is owned by Mr. Srinivasan, and Gurunath Meiyappan is Mr. Srinivasan's son-in-law, and he has been sitting in that dugout for every single game for the last so many seasons. So in that regard, I guess to get to the bottom of this, that is why Mr. Harish Salve has been raising that point of maybe taking Mahendra Singh Dhoni's name.
Yes, what has also happened is that Harish Salve has not just taken the name of Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who's also the captain of the Chennai Super Kings, the team owned by N. Srinivasan, remember. He's also talked about Sundar Raman, who's the CEO of the IPL, saying that Sundar Raman too is an employee of India Cements. So therefore, this conflict of interest runs deep in the BCCI functioning and in the IPL functioning. But as Simi was just mentioning, this is absolutely massive. The Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni being attacked in the Supreme Court as far as the hearings in this case are concerned. Harish Salve, eminent lawyer, the counsel for the petitioners in this case, saying Dhoni gave a false statement to Mudgal Committee. That of course amounts to perjury. Salve going on to say that he's guilty of corrupt conduct. Now, what exactly he means by that when he says corrupt conduct, we'll have to wait and see exactly what arguments he gave to the court to justify corrupt conduct. But, you know, this question about him giving the false statement, ever since Mudgal Committee came out with a report and actually clearly said that Gurunath Meiyappan is in fact a deemed owner of Chennai Super Kings, is in fact the team principal. Nikhil, you know, questions had been raised on not just what N. Srinivasan had said about his son-in-law being just a cricket enthusiast, but even Mahendra Singh Dhoni had defended Gurunath Meiyappan. So, you know, that question was bound to crop up one time or another.
Absolutely, without a doubt, you know, because Gurunath has been sitting in the dugout, Shivani, from day one, ever since the IPL has started.
He's there at the auctions as well, buying and selling players. I mean, I don't think just a cricket enthusiast will be allowed to do that.
No, and apart from that, I guess to be, in all fairness, with a little bit of defense to Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I guess, you know, since he's been interacting with him over a period of time and he's been literally the team principal, he probably felt that, you know, if he can disregard saying that Gurunath Meiyappan is not a team owner, so maybe the case that is going against Gurunath would probably help him, but probably not realizing the ramification of the statement that he's given, that Mr. Salve is put in the Supreme Court today. So I guess Mahendra Singh Dhoni not realizing the importance of the statement that he's given to Mr. Mudgal.
Atit Sharma, my colleague, is joining us over the phone line from the Supreme Court. Atit, massive news coming in. Mahendra Singh Dhoni's name being taken in this case for the first time, and clearly Harish Salve saying in the court that Mahendra Singh Dhoni is guilty of corrupt conduct, quote unquote. He gave a false statement to Mudgal Committee. This could have massive ramifications for the Indian captain.
Yes, Shivani, whatever we've heard so far is that what Harish Salve has said, and what he's spoken about the statement that Mahendra Singh Dhoni has given, and it definitely raises a lot of questions. We all know, as we had spoken about it a few months ago also, that Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni and IPL CEO Sundar Raman's conflict of interest, being India Cement employees and also being involved in IPL, and in that case, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni's role is much bigger. He's captain of the Indian cricket team. He's also captain of the Chennai Super Kings team, and as has been mentioned, that he's also holding a post in India Cements company, which is run by the CSK owners. So obviously, and this raises a big question mark over what statement that Mahendra Singh Dhoni has given.
Right.
It might just be, give some fodder to other his rivals, and definitely this is something which is very intriguing right now, and that is the reason that the hearing is still going on. It has been going on for almost more than 1 hour now, and
yes,
and probably the arguments are continuing, and the main thing which direction in which it is moving right now, it is now the conflict of interest.
Absolutely. The conflict of interest becoming the sword hanging on N. Srinivasan's head. It has been there for 6 years, but really nothing could be done about it. He had, ignored it. He had turned a blind eye to it. Many would say the rest in the BCCI, even the ICC turned a blind eye. Boria Majumdar, our consulting editor, and also former Mumbai captain Shishir Hatangri are also joining us to discuss this huge development in this case. Harish Salve, the petitioner's lawyer in the Supreme Court, arguing that Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni gave a false statement to the Mudgal panel and he is guilty of corrupt conduct. Boria, let me come to you first. This question was bound to crop up, one day or another, because Dhoni too had backed N. Srinivasan in saying that Meiyappan was nothing more than a cricket enthusiast.
Shivani, this is the biggest embarrassment of the day. The Indian cricket captain being indicted by the petitioner's lawyer Harish Salve, and Harish Salve is no junior lawyer. He is perhaps one of the best lawyers that this country has ever produced, arguing in open court in the Supreme Court of India that the Indian cricket captain is guilty of corrupt conduct for falsely giving evidence to the Mudgal Committee. Now this is massive. How does the Supreme Court react to this? And frankly, that is there in the committee. I mean, if you read the Mudgal Committee's report, which we have several times, you will see that Mahendra Singh Dhoni actually attested to what you just said, that he called Meiyappan an enthusiast. How can the Indian cricket captain of the Chennai Super Kings for all the years, say that he did not know Meiyappan was team principal or team owner or whatever it is, and agree to Meiyappan being an enthusiast? Now this is serious embarrassment. And because Mahendra Singh Dhoni is an India Cements vice president, he is captain of India, the Chennai Super Kings, captain of India, all of these issues of conflict of interest now coming together. This is becoming murkier and murkier as far as Indian cricket is concerned.
Absolutely. It's not just a question of him giving a false statement. What Harish Salve is largely trying to do in court is paint this picture of conflict of interest that is running deep in the functioning of the BCCI and the IPL. What he has also said, Boria, that Mahendra Singh Dhoni is also an employee of India Cements, the company of N. Srinivasan, and that Sundar Raman, who's heading the IPL, is also an employee of the ICL. So how can this be allowed to continue? Because there's massive conflict of interest, which all of us have known. It's just that now it's been argued in court.
You're absolutely right, Shivani. I mean, this is just unbelievable that the CEO of the IPL is an employee of India Cements. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is a vice president of India Cements. And, when Mr. Srinivasan says, I will step aside, so if the Supreme Court needs to buy into that argument, how does the Supreme Court sort of believe that? What will happen to Sundar Raman? What will happen to Mahendra Singh Dhoni? How is it that the Supreme Court will know that a fair probe will be conducted if an India Cements employee continues to be the IPL CEO? So it's layer after layer of conflict of interest. It is not only about Srinivasan stepping aside and then all of us believing that the IPL probe will be fair. That is why BCCI proposal will have to be vetted by the Supreme Court really deeply, which is what they've said, that we've got to take a long, hard look. And with Harish Salve arguing for the last 1 hour, this is continuing for 1 hour and 35 minutes now. So this is massive development. Sundar Raman, employee of India Cements. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, employee of India Cements as vice president. Narayan Swamy Srinivasan, owner of India Cements, owner of Chennai Super Kings. Where does conflict of interest cease to exist? Everything is mired in contradiction. What will the Supreme Court do? $1 million question.
Yes, so we'll keep getting an update from our reporters as well who are there in the Supreme Court, keeping a close eye on the hearing and the arguments that are going on. Shishir Hatangri, if I can come to you as well, are you surprised at all that MS Dhoni's name has finally been taken? Indian captain, Chennai Super Kings captain, employee of the of India Cements, and someone who told Mudgal Committee that Meiyappan was just a cricket enthusiast.
Not surprised at all, because he's working on orders from his boss. And, you know, cricket aside, I think integrity and honesty is something one needs to value more than your cricketing ability. And if you haven't done that, then I think it puts a big shame on the term cricketer, because cricketer encompasses character, it encompasses integrity and honesty, and that's something that it's obvious that you know, there has been a lie spoken. You know, you tried to misguide the committee, and that's a matter of great shame for me as a cricketer, for every cricket lover and every cricket player in India. It's setting the wrong example. As far as I'm concerned, I've been a part of the IPL. I know for a fact that Gurunath Meiyappan was posturing as a principal, as an owner. I've seen him at workshops, I've seen him in functions, I've seen him at auctions. So if anybody's trying to convince me he was just an enthusiast or whatever the other term can be used, then I think it's a whole lot of rubbish. I have seen it with my eyes, and nobody can convince me on anything other than what I have seen. He's been posturing as an owner, he's been posturing as somebody who's a principal of the team. If you can cover it up, good luck to you. But to me, he's always been an owner.
Yes, Shishir, you know, there's been a conspiracy of silence of sorts. You know, I mean, some people did raise questions about Dhoni's conflict of interest when he was given a position in India Cements, the fact that he was so close to N. Srinivasan, the fact that you know, he didn't speak out against Gurunath Meiyappan or didn't really say anything about the IPL spot fixing saga. There's been an eerie silence, this big, you know, this elephant in the room, and today we're seeing that elephant being addressed in the Supreme Court, but so far there was nothing on it, isn't it? That's the reality.
That was nothing on it. Everybody was aware of it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. You know, being an employee of a company can be, you know, a commercial interest. Somebody can employ you because you bring value to the company. I have nothing to do with personal employment of individuals. But you know, when you try and connect the dots, you really find that, you know, you have no option but to toe the line with whoever is calling the shots, and that to me is a conflict of interest, because when you're holding position as India's most powerful cricket captain, and then the dots connect in terms of your association with a franchise team as an employee, and I'm surprised and shocked to hear that even Sundar Raman was an employee of or you know, in the books of India Cements as an employee. I mean, it just gets so murky, and you realize that, you know, you were working in honesty for the IPL with IPL franchisees, and this, you know, often used term as cozy club today has come to light. I often wondered whether it was a rhetoric, whether people were being a little cynical about terms used. Today I have to say in shame that it's honestly true that, you know, the word cozy club is very evident, and it makes me ashamed as a cricketer to see what is happening to the way, you know, top cricketers in India today are making statements that are really, that goes beyond the term cricket creates character. It's no longer that anymore. It's all about, you know, surviving because somebody asks you to survive in a certain way.
There's massive heat on Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the hearing in the IPL spot fixing saga continues in the Supreme Court. The petitioners counsel Harish Salve has now attacked Dhoni in the Supreme Court, saying that the Indian captain is guilty of corrupt conduct. He also says that he gave a false statement to the Mudgal Committee regarding Gurunath Meiyappan's role in Chennai Super Kings. Remember, both N. Srinivasan, who's the owner of CSK, and MS Dhoni, who's the captain of the team, they had both said that Gurunath Meiyappan's involvement in the team is peripheral, that he's just a cricket enthusiast and nothing more. Even though everyone would see him sitting in dugouts, coming for auctions, they had refused to acknowledge his role. But when the Mudgal report came out, it had set certain things straight. The Mudgal Committee report said clearly that Gurunath Meiyappan was a deemed owner, if not an owner, and that he was discharging the duties of a team principal. So clearly, the heat now on not just N. Srinivasan, but the Indian captain as well. Boria, you know, this is not just about the Indian captain and what he said in, you know, in front of the Mudgal panel, even though that is massive. Obviously, he's been accused of giving a false statement. But this is also about, as Shishir was mentioning, this cozy club. Dhoni being captain of India, you know, there's been questions on just how long he has continued despite massive losses abroad. He's the captain of Chennai Super Kings. He's known to be close to N. Srinivasan. He's an employee of India Cements, Srinivasan's company as well. And now we are hearing even Sundar Raman is an employee of India Cements.
You are right, and that's also been raised in the Supreme Court. A veritable can of worms have been opened, Shivani. I mean, this is actually a veritable can of worms finally opened up by Harish Salve in the Supreme Court. Where does the buck stop? What is the end of it? Mahendra Singh Dhoni, captain, employee of India Cements. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, captain, giving a false testimony. Srinivasan steps aside. So what? Sundar Raman will continue to be IPL CEO. Does that cut the ice with the Supreme Court anymore? I mean, Harish Salve has now opened up an absolute veritable can of worms in front of the Supreme Court, all relating to the issue of conflict of interest. That it is all multi-layered. You know, at every level there are people with which, or through which, who Mr. Srinivasan can actually exercise control. So will there be a fair probe, even if he steps aside? To what extent can we trust Mr. Srinivasan and the BCCI to make these tall claims? For the first time, can you imagine Indian cricket captain in the Supreme Court of this country by one of the leading legal luminaries being accused of corrupt conduct? Can it get bigger than this? I don't think so.
Yes, Shishir, you've been very frank and very honest about everything that has been going on in the IPL. You have been part of the system as well. And the fact that, you know, there was this eerie silence maintained despite everyone knowing what was going on, and everybody's hope only was that perhaps things will be set straight or something will be said on what is going on, this cozy club that is going on, at least in the Supreme Court. Would you feel that all of these things being said in the Supreme Court, there is no way that they can be ignored?
You can't anymore because I think the water's now flown over the bridge as far as as far as every Indian cricket lover is concerned. Look, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, besides being the employee and a close confidant and whatever you want to call him of India Cements, an employee of
all right, Shishir, I'm really sorry to cut you short there. You're making a very important point. Let me just go across to Boria, who has some more information.
Shivani, Harish Salve is now demanding in court, and I'm getting information, suspend Chennai Super Kings right away. The Supreme Court asked when is the IPL beginning? Harish Salve, April 16th, because he's now taken it a step forward. He is saying suspend Chennai Super Kings with immediate effect. That is what the recent claim is, what we can break on headlines today. Suspend Chennai Super Kings. The judge asked, when is IPL beginning? Harish Salve, April 16th. So now it's not conflict of interest. He's escalated it one step further, demanding suspension of Chennai Super Kings with immediate effect.
Right. We were expecting to hear on the fate of these two teams as well. Remember, that is one of the things that we were waiting to hear about. So finally, the hearings and the arguments have come to the fate of these two teams. Everyone was asking the question that season 7 is, right around the corner. Given everything that is going on, can it be allowed to continue? Can these teams be allowed to play in the next season? Harish Salve, the petitioner, the counsel for the petitioners, now saying that you have to suspend CSK. We'll come back after a short break and also get you other details. Perhaps there has been some argument made on the fate of Rajasthan Royals as well. Remember, their conduct and their owner is also in the dock.